Welcome to the It Factor. We're Jemmy and I, exploring a new blog post by Mr. Len Kaplan, CEO of CDML, a managed service provider in Queens, NY, offering network management, VoIP and UCaaS, cybersecurity, compliance, IaaS, cloud solutions, and Microsoft 365 and Azure solutions. If you're a small business owner or manage IT for a growing organization, this deep dive is absolutely for you.
That is quite the list of services, and it's a perfect snapshot of the modern IT environment, really.
It is. A lot of acronyms in there.
Yeah, before we dive in, maybe let's just quickly define those technical pillars you just mentioned, just for listeners who might be tackling these for the first time.
Absolutely. Let's make sure everyone's on the same page.
So we heard a few key ones. VoIP, or voice over IP, is basically what lets you make phone calls over the internet instead of old school phone lines.
Right, the digital phone system.
Exactly. Then there's UCaaS, which we pronounce UCaaS. Think of it as the central hub for all your communication, phone, chat, video conferencing, all bundled together in the cloud.
And what about IaaS? That's the big one for infrastructure, I think.
That's IaaS, Infrastructure as a Service. And you're right, it's fundamental. Instead of buying and managing your own physical servers, you're essentially renting that core computing power over the internet.
Got it. That context is perfect. Because today we are diving into an insight from Mr. Kaplan's article that, honestly, it really cuts through that typical security checklist mentality. The article title is pretty straightforward and sobering. Cybersecurity isn't the biggest risk in a crisis. Unpreparedness is.
It's such a powerful distinction. And the core mission of this deep dive is really to explore how organizations actually stop working during a massive crisis.
Yeah, because it's not what you think.
It's not. We always hear about data breaches, about ransomware, but this article argues that, well, operational failure, not a technical failure, is the real danger.
I think we all just instinctively assume if the tech is secure, we're safe. You get a robust disaster recovery plan, a DR plan, and you think that's the finish line?
And that assumption is precisely the danger the article highlights. The source material is focused on what happens when a crisis goes way beyond just a technical glitch. We're talking geopolitical events, regional instability.
Or even something like a massive power grid failure.
Exactly. Big stuff. So, okay, let's unpack this. If my server is backed up to the cloud and my staff works from home, why would a local crisis bring my whole business down?
That's the key question, isn't it?
It is, because the crisis doesn't just stress the data, it stresses the people, the processes, everything around the technology. What actually breaks is the organization's ability to respond when things are degraded.
So the initial problem, like the internet going out, that's not the real failure.
Rarely. The real damage comes when your plans all assume a certain level of normalcy that just vanishes.
The article calls these second-order failures. This sounds like the point where, a small problem just snowballs into a catastrophic freeze.
That's it exactly. These are the assumptions that fail. And they fail fast, often in the first 48 hours, and they are almost never technical.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics. The first big assumption that collapses: assuming your support and help desks are always available.
This one is so critical. A lot of us rely on outsourced help desks or security operations centers, SOCs.
Sure, they might be in another state or even another country.
Right. But what happens if a widespread blackout or, some kind of instability hits the specific region where your support team is based?
Their power is out, their internet is down.
And suddenly, something incredibly routine, like a password reset for a critical app, can bring your entire operation to a halt. The data exists, but you can't get to it.
Wow. Yeah, it's the simple stuff that becomes impossible. Okay, moving on. The article points to the failure of decision-making access. You just assume you can always reach leadership.
A huge hurdle. If your phone systems or collaboration tools are down, how do you get a hold of the owner or CEO for an emergency decision?
And even if you do, who has the authority to approve, say, an emergency expense without going through the normal channels?
Exactly. Accountability gets blurry and every delay costs you. If you need $5,000 for a generator and the person who approves that is unreachable, well, you've just lost a day. Or a week.
That ties right into the third failure you mentioned: staff availability. We planned for systems being down, but not for our people being unavailable.
Right. So even if your cloud systems are perfectly fine in some remote data center,
your actual employees might not be able to access them.
Yeah, and it's not just about tech. It could be travel restrictions, roads are closed, or just personal safety concerns. If your key people can't get to their workstations, the whole plan falls apart.
So the failure isn't the firewall, it's the front door to someone's house.
You got it. And that leads to another point.
Yeah.
What about your third-party providers? You assume they'll prioritize you.
But they're dealing with the exact same regional crisis. Their staff is unavailable too.
Their own continuity plans might completely conflict with yours, leaving you stranded. And there's one more big one. Institutional memory of manual processes.
Because we've automated everything.
We're efficient, but brittle. If the main system is down, does anyone remember how to process an order on paper? How to verify a wire transfer offline?
Probably not. We've optimized that knowledge away. So when those assumptions collapse, support, decisions, staff, vendors, manual knowledge, it doesn't matter how good your backups are, you're paralyzed.
Which brings us to that crucial distinction you mentioned earlier. Disaster recovery, DR, is not the same as resilience.
That's the pivotal message Mr. Kaplan is driving home, isn't it?
It is. Most companies mistake a strong technical DR plan for being truly resilient. But DR is just about technology recovery, getting servers back online.
You can have perfect data and still be totally stuck.
100%. Because your people can't execute the plan. Real resilience requires coordination across at least 6 areas, and only one of them is tech.
Okay, so what are the other 5? The non-technical pillars.
First, you need predefined human decision-making. Who's in charge if the CEO is gone? Second, you need defined communication paths, and I mean offline, physical methods.
So like an actual printed phone tree, not just assuming everyone's got Signal or Teams.
Precisely. Third is clear escalation authority. Your response team needs the power to act without a 4-hour meeting. Fourth is having detailed alternate workflows.
The manual processes we were just talking about.
Yep, step-by-step guides for running the business by hand. And the fifth piece, which is critical, is tested assumptions. You have to run drills.
Because if you haven't tested it, it's just a theory.
It just exists on paper. And only then, after those 5, do you get to the 6th piece. Technology recovery, your DR. Without the first 5, the tech is almost useless in a real crisis.
So without that human alignment, the continuity plan is just a very expensive, dusty binder on a shelf.
Which is why prepared organizations plan for degradation, not for perfection. They ask the uncomfortable questions before a crisis hits.
Right. The article had some great examples. Instead of asking, is our data backed up, you have to ask something different.
You have to ask, what decisions can our local team make if leadership is completely unreachable for 3 days?
Or, who can grant emergency access if our main identity systems are down? It forces you to build manual overrides.
Exactly. Or, which core process still works with zero automation? It's about planning to operate at, say, 20% efficiency just to survive.
That shift in mindset, planning for partial availability instead of perfection, that has to be the hardest part. We're all so used to aiming for 99.999% uptime.
It's a huge shift, but effective planning has to assume bad connectivity, fewer staff, and manual work. Accepting that is what separates a controlled response from just pure panic.
And that's where a firm like CDML comes in, helping businesses bridge that gap between a technical checklist and real operational resilience.
For sure. They focus on people, process, and technology together. They help you find those hidden dependencies, like realizing 3 of your core services rely on one single remote team.
And they align the technical DR plan with the human incident response plan.
And critically, they use things like tabletop exercises. You test those assumptions safely in a simulation before the stakes are real.
This whole deep dive really reinforces one central truth for me. Cybersecurity is the foundation. It's essential, but continuity. That depends on people and preparation for when things are not perfect.
Absolutely. Crises do not break organizations. Unexamined assumptions do. The moment you start planning for when, not if, your assumptions fail, that's when you achieve true resilience.
That's a powerful conclusion, and definitely something every IT manager and small business owner needs to take to heart. If you liked this deep dive and found that distinction between DR and resilience helpful, please click that thumbs up button so we know what topics are hitting home.
And if you want to go deeper on this, Mr. Kaplan and the team at CDML publish new blog posts every Tuesday and Thursday. You can subscribe to stay informed.
Just visit https://cdml.com today to read more and connect with their team about moving beyond just compliance and into true readiness.
Till next time.